Welcome to The Explainer. All right, today we're tackling a big one, cloud sustainability. And believe me, this isn't just some niche topic anymore. It's making its way right into the boardroom.
Okay, so let's start with a really basic but super important idea. We all talk about the cloud, right? It sounds so, well, cloudy, like it's just floating up there in the ether. But here's the thing, it's not abstract at all. It's incredibly physical. Think about it. Every single photo you stick up on social media, every show you binge watch, every app you use on your phone, all of that is running on real physical hardware. We're talking millions of servers packed into these huge data centers that are just chugging energy to run and guzzling water to keep from overheating. And once you really get that physical reality, that's when you can start to understand its impact on the environment. So that leads to the big question for any company out there today. Is your cloud strategy actually helping the planet, or is it hurting it? And look, this isn't just about feeling good or being green anymore. This has become a serious business issue with real money and real regulations on the line.
Okay, let's dive into the first part of this, the cloud's carbon footprint. Why is everyone talking about this right now?
Well, it's kind of like a perfect storm. You've got companies setting these really ambitious ESG goals. That's environmental, sustainability, and governance. Then, boom, new regulations are showing up all over the place, and they demand that companies report on their environmental impact. And for a lot of businesses, the cloud is a massive piece of their carbon emissions. But the good news is, it's a piece they can actually do something about. Throw in the fact that customers and investors are demanding action, and yeah, this is definitely not a nice-to-have anymore.
So all this pressure creates a really interesting and kind of tricky new challenge. It's a whole new balancing act.
You know, the FinOps framework, which is basically the playbook for managing cloud costs, gives us a really good way to think about this. It says cloud sustainability is all about weaving these environmental goals right into how you optimize your cloud. The bottom line isn't just about saving money anymore. Now, you have to balance that financial value with being environmentally efficient.
To put this in perspective, for years and years, business decisions, especially in tech, were all about the classic iron triangle. You know the one. Fast, cheap, or good. The rule was you could only pick two. It was always a trade-off between speed, costs, and quality.
Well, guess what? That triangle is now a square. Sustainability has just pulled up a fourth chair to the table. And adding this new dimension, it completely changes the game. It changes how we have to think about building and running everything in the cloud.
And here's where it gets really practical and really interesting. Some of the things you do to save money in the cloud are a total win-win, like workload optimization. That's just using what you need when you need it. You turn stuff off when you're not using it. That saves money and it lowers your carbon emissions. Perfect. But then you get to rate optimization. This is where it gets tough. What if the cheapest cloud region for you to run in is powered by coal, but a slightly more expensive one is powered by clean energy? Suddenly, your financial goals and your sustainability goals are in a head-to-head conflict.
So, with these new trade-offs, how does a company actually get this done? Well, the answer is, it's a total team effort. Everyone has a part to play. Let's break down who does what.
It all starts with the engineers, right on the front lines. Every choice they make, what service to use, what region to deploy in, that's what generates the cost and the carbon data in the first place. Their goal is to build stuff that's super efficient and minimizes waste from the get-go.
Then you have the FinOps practitioner. Think of them as the translator or the data hub. They take all that raw info from the engineers and make sense of it. They're the ones who connect the dots, putting the cost data right next to the carbon data so the rest of the business can clearly see what the trade-offs are.
And that clear picture goes right up to leadership. Now that they have good data from the FinOps team, they can make those tough decisions. When saving money and saving the planet are at odds, it's leadership's job to set the strategy and make the call. They're the ones who decide the priority, which gives everyone else the clarity they need.
Now, it's super important to realize this doesn't happen overnight. It's absolutely a journey, a process of maturing, and every company out there is at a different stage.
And we can think about this journey in 3 stages: crawl, walk, run. In the crawl stage, you're doing the basics, the low-hanging fruit, like shutting down servers that aren't being used. When you get to walk, you're using detailed carbon data to actually re-architect your existing stuff to be more efficient. But the goal, the run stage, is where sustainability is just business as usual. It's considered in every single new design before anything is even built. You're being proactive, not just cleaning up messes later.
And how do you move through that journey? Well, it comes down to one crucial thing: measurement. It's that old saying, right? You can't manage what you don't measure. And it is absolutely true here.
So, what does success actually look like?
Well, a few key things. First, you've got to have clear data from all your different cloud providers, and it all has to be normalized so you're comparing apples to apples. Second, that data has to be visible to everybody, sitting right next to the cost data people are already looking at. And finally, you need clear targets, like carbon budgets, and clear rules for what to do when those financial and sustainability goals clash.
Okay, to make sense of all these reports, you got to know a little bit of the lingo. You'll see things like GHG, which is just greenhouse gases. You'll see ESG, which we mentioned is that corporate framework. But the really big one to know is CO2e. That stands for carbon dioxide equivalent. It's a really smart way to take all the different kinds of greenhouse gases, which have different impacts, and roll them all up into one single number you can actually compare.
And that brings me to a really critical point. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Seriously, the data we're getting from the cloud providers, is it perfect? No, not yet, but it is absolutely good enough to get started. The goal right now isn't to have flawless accounting. The goal is to start making better, directionally correct decisions today.
Which leaves us with the one big provocative question that every single team needs to ask itself. When saving money and saving the planet are in conflict, how are you going to choose? Because the choices you make are going to define what your cloud strategy really looks like in the future.